round and roll. Shake round and roll. Shake round and roll. It's breakfast with Bob.
Honcho Man! Welcome to day 2. Breakfast with Bob. We're brought to you by HOKA, One Polar, Halo Neuroscience, Velofix, Today's Plan, Normatec, Four Seasons Resort, Hualalai, Triathlete Magazine. Our next guest, 2018 Ironman UK champion, Mr. Joe Skipper. Joey, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Bob. Yeah, cheers for having me on.
So you've been drug tested how many times in the last 6 weeks?
God, 6 times in the last 2 months, I think. I'm seeing them more than I am my own family.
They know your They know your dogs now.
Yeah. They come to the door back home. It's the same people each time, and the dogs are on good terms with them, so it make them feel at home.
Joe, when did you get into this? When did you get into triathlon?
I started off originally when I was really young doing it. I think I was 12, 13. My dad was a cyclist, and I was doing a bit of swimming and running, and he said, for your Christmas present, I'll get you a bike if you want. I said, and you can do a triathlon. And I was like, what the hell's a triathlon?
Yeah.
And he said, swim, bike, run. I said, yeah, all right, I'll give that a go. That was, for 17 years ago. So I did that for 3 or 4 years, and then when I went to university, I got into just doing cycling. And then towards the end of university, I started doing, dipping my feet in the water again, doing triathlon, and that was about 2010, 2011 time, and I started taking it more seriously then.
Were you thinking at that point the ITU and potentially Olympics, or were you always thinking longer?
No, I just wanted to do an Ironman originally.
That was it?
Yeah, I just wanted to see how hard it was.
And what was your first one?
Challenge Barcelona.
Challenge, and how'd you do? Did you start out as an age grouper?
No, I was too poor for that, so I managed to blag a pro license so I could get some free entries into racing.
So you went pro so you can get race for free?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I did a few local triathlons and stuff, and a friend told me that you could try and apply for a pro license, because I think back then it was a lot easier, with British triathlon. So I did that, and she said, sometimes you'll get free entries, and sometimes they'll even put you up. I'll have a bit of that. So yeah, I did that, and managed to get an entry into it for free, and the rest is history, as they say.
What was the race that made you feel that you could do well?
Well, I had a quite a good debut in my first one. So in that Challenge Barcelona, I was 5th, and I did it in 8:23.
8:23 was your first Ironman.
Yeah, and then I thought, well, I might be all right.
I might be all right. That is unbelievable. And you came here in 2015 and took 13th and had a 3:04 run, which is nowhere near where Joe Skipper should be.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just I can run a lot faster. I've run a lot faster in cooler conditions. But for me, in Hawaii now, after coming here, for the 3rd time, I know it's just trying to keep cool, not going out too quick, and just really dealing with the heat so I can run close to my potential.
Right.
Because I think in the other years, I've known it's hot, but not really prepared properly for the heat, and kind of underestimated it a bit, and thought, I'll be all right on race day. So I think if I can cope with the heat and get a good strategy, not go out too hard, then I could run a lot quicker. Because this year I've run, I did like you say 3 Ironmans in 4 weeks at one point. And
3. Let that sink in for a little bit. 3 Ironmans in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
What the hell? What do you think?
That was a bit of a summer holiday. That was going around road tripping.
So basically, you put the bike in the car and just drove a couple races.
Drove to Roth, drove to Bolton, and then drove to Hamburg.
And in Roth, you were 4th, right?
Yeah, fourth in Roth, and then got persuaded by Cameron Worth to do Ironman UK. So I did.
Because he looks at those and says, "Hey, if you're going to train long anyways, you might as well do a race and have somebody give you food along the way, have a catered workout."
Yeah, catered training days, he calls them. So yeah, he persuaded me to do that, and I wanted to go to Hawaii anyway and qualify, and I needed to get a 1st or a 2nd in one more Ironman before the end of July. So I was like, well, I could do Bolton in 2 weeks' time after Roth, and if I finish top 2, then I've sealed it. I know I'm going to Kona, and I've got an extra 2 weeks to kind of have a bit of a break and then build up again. So I thought, I'll give that a go. And also, if something did happen in Bolton, I've still got one more chance. Because originally I thought I might not feel great in Bolton, but I could always, if I'm in good position after the bike, then hopefully I could get a top 2. And if I'm not, then I can just stop there and kind of go for Hamburg. I didn't want to stop there, but I thought as a backup plan that was an option. Went to Bolton, felt really good actually, better than what I did in Roth, and ended up getting first. Over the moon because it was my first Ironman
first win.
victory. So, and to do it in Bolton, like, you know, home race, that was fantastic. And then I thought, still ended in Hamburg. It's 2 weeks' time, and I think I was on a bit of a high then. And
you think?
Yeah. So went to Hamburg, had another good race, and got second place there. And then since then, I kind of like just prepared specifically for this race. So I've been
up in the Pyrenees.
Yeah, did like a block of altitude training, and then came back, felt really good, and kind of have just carried that fitness into my training, been doing some really good training, and looking forward to seeing what I can do out here.
So in this race, Chrissy Wellington has won this race 4 times, but we haven't had a Brit guy win this race.
Yeah, I know. I think Dave McNamee's performance
Third.
last year was that's the best ever by a Brit. So yeah, it'd be good to do at least that.
What are your goals here?
Position wise, I mean, I haven't really got a aim position wise. I know I think I could get a really good performance on that, but I want to have a good swim and just be in contention at the end of the bike. And I think if I'm in contention at the end of the bike, I could do a great result. Like, because I've done a lot of preparation, I think I'll be able to put together a good marathon this time. But just do the best I can. And I think if I can do the best I can, I should be up there. From like how I feel and the numbers I've seen in training.
So are you a guy who likes to lead the race, or would you rather come from behind?
Oh, definitely come from behind.
Really?
Yeah, I like it. I think, I don't know, I guess because in training when we're back home, we handicap everything. Like, so the slowest people start first for the interval sessions, and then the next, and I always end up being the one that chases them down.
Yes.
So I guess I'm used to it, like every session we do, whereas intervals, I'm
and
always chasing
you like
people.
that?
Yeah, I like that, because I think at the front, when I have been in the front before, you don't get any time splits, and you don't know what's going on, and you can only lose that position, can't you?
Yeah.
At best, you hold where you're at. Whereas when you're in second or third, you can see where the person is in front.
Right.
And if you come through, I think, and catch them, you're running better than them because you've just taken them for the lead. And it mentally is so much easier. Whereas I found in Texas back in 2015, I got off the bike and I was leading it, and it was like hot conditions like Kona, and for 18 miles I was just digging myself a hole, and I was just in so much pain that eventually Matt Hansen ran me down, and I was getting no splits at all, so I didn't know who was coming from behind, what was happening. But he caught me at 18 miles, and normally you'd think you'd be gutted, just lost the lead, but it was like, at the time in that race, it felt like relief because I could ease up a bit now. I was like, oh God, like
at least I know where I am.
Yeah, like I was just like, oh, that was just so hard. But like, whereas in Bolton, I came from behind and I could see him. I thought I can run my own race, and I wasn't worried about him because he wasn't pulling away, kind of thing. And I gradually ran him down, and that felt so much easier mentally. And then when you get to the lead, you know that you're running faster than everyone else because you've just pulled away from him. Whereas when you're in the lead, you don't get any feedback, especially on a course like this where there's no out and backs. So, they're a long way between them.
Exactly. So after this race, season over. I mean, this will be how many Ironmans have you done this year?
I did New Zealand in March.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't actually had that big a season because I did New Zealand in March, but I actually did it with an injury, so I had a slip disc.
Were you second there?
Yeah,
okay.
with a slip disc in my back, which I didn't know at the time, and then that put me out for 2.5 months. So the season's been pretty short for me. I did New Zealand and then couldn't really run in March, couldn't run in April, started again in May, but had to build up really gradually, start off 20-25 miles a week running, which, I normally do like 50, 55. So July, although I did do quite a few races, I still feel pretty fresh because it was all in a 4-week block. So, I've done New Zealand, but then I didn't race for 4 months.
Right.
And then I did 3 races then. And then I've kind of put all my eggs in the Kona basket and trained specifically for this. So if I feel good after the race and I feel motivated, I'd like to do Arizona. I'd like to give that a real good crack. I've wanted to do that for about 3 years, but every year I've said, I'm going to race it, and then I've got to October and I'm like, no, that's it. Like, that's it. I can't carry on till November.
So winning UK after you'd been there a number of times, and you hadn't won that before.
Yeah.
Winning that race, how special was that?
It was awesome at the time, like to cross the line. But then it was, I didn't really dwell on it or think about it, for too long. It was like the next day I was thinking, I'm going to give Hamburg a go. So I was thinking, right, I need to make sure I do everything well in recovery.
Recovery, yeah.
Yeah, I like kind of doing well at the race, but then after it, if you do a good race, I kind of think, oh, that was awesome that everything worked out and I got a race. But then you kind of think, what's next, and plan for your next one. It's almost like a bit of a game, isn't it? You try and get all the pieces to line up, and if you do a good result, brilliant. But then you start the next one, and it's all you look ahead for your next race.
Love it. Joe, thanks so much for taking time, man. How about a round of applause for Joe Skipper?
Shake, rattle, roll. Shake, rattle, roll. Shake, rattle, roll. It's breakfast with Bob.
Hi, Joe.